of the manna that falls every Wednesday and Friday at the Number Adventist Station in the southern part of Angola. Manna has been falling in this drought-stricken area since 1945, and we praise God for providing to His people.
We have always had a poor harvest in this area, but God has always provided for His people. My sister can testify that they survived on manna when times were hard at the Number Adventist Mission. Until today, people are still eating it.
Curiosity killed the cat, and so Sid Media's director, Noel Sibanda, visited the area in the southern part of Angola to get the first-hand information. And as they say, the proof of the pudding is in the eating.
Here we are at Manna Adventist Mission Station. We came, we saw, we smelled, we touched, and now I'm tasting for the third time just to convince you that indeed this is manna from heaven. The taste, I can't describe it. It tastes of everything that I've ever eaten that is so good.
I've also come to taste the manna, and I can't really describe how it tastes like. It is like honey-like, it's like a cake. I really don't have words to describe how it tastes like. Exactly, I don't know how to describe it. I just know that it's white and it's sweet. But the real taste, I can't have anything to compare with.
This story of Number, I've been just reading it in Storytime in Africa book. I taught my kids when they were growing with that story, and when my kids heard that we are going to Angola, they asked me, "Mommy, is that the same place where manna was falling?" I said, "Yes, but it should be in Angola, but I don't know exactly where that place is." But when we came here in Angola, we inquired of the place. They said, yes, actually, even now, manna is still falling. And I'm happy that I've visited the place today. And I picked a few pieces of it. I tasted it. It's very nice. When you are eating it, it's like something mixed with sweet, and there is a good fragrance on it. So you cannot really explain the way it is, but it's a very nice food.
Wow, it has been really a great experience here because stories have been going all over. I have heard about it. I tried to Google about it. And of course, when I Googled it, I found a small piece by Signs of Times, which was documented there. But even after I saw it, there were still doubts from my colleagues that I informed about it. Well, this morning we've made it to come here, and I still can't believe that I'm here. And we've got a bit of it here. It's a bit hard. The text is hard. I think it has dried up a bit. It's more or less like a cake's icing sugar that has been dried because it's very tasty, very sweet.
The history of manna falling at Number Adventist Station in the southern parts of Angola dates back to more than 50 years ago when there was a famine in this area. Villagers had to walk long distance to look for food, and those who harvested a little bit had to sweat it out to grind the maize meal into mealie, a very labor-intensive exercise, but the job had to be done. The mission station was destroyed during the civil war in Angola that lasted more than 20 years. When the mission station was destroyed by the rebels, manna stopped falling and only started falling again when the mission station was rebuilt. This is a living miracle, and all this shows us the presence of God. This Adventist mission station must be preserved by all means. On the day the mission station was dedicated to the Lord, manna fell like it has never happened before, and the community was terrified.
I was born in this place. I grew up in the same place, and from my childhood I've been witnessing this miracle of manna falling. But something which really troubled me, and it was a very big miracle, it happened in 2010. That year, after the mission has been renewed, there was a big miracle happening where manna fell in such quantities which we have never seen before. It fell actually from beyond that side of the church. It fell even up to the mountain. All the ground was covered with manna. This happened in a time when the mission has been renewed, and people were marveling. They were wondering, why is it that manna never fell in such a way and it's falling in that way? People were afraid. He said we were to come out and call people to come and collect manna, but they refused. They were afraid because it was too much. The whole ground was covered with manna, so people were afraid coming out of their homes to collect it, and only little children came and collected it. When the information reached the union, Pastor Teodoro and Pastor Gilberto from Brazil and Pastor Sabino from Portugal, they came to witness the miracle because the manna was kept up to when they came, and they were shown what was really happening at this place. Manna fell as never before.
Sometime in the past, there was a famine around the area and people had no food. They decided to fast and pray to God. By the late Pastor Seke was the director of the mission station. He was away and only women were around, but no food. After 3 days of prayer, they received manna. A small girl came to this bush and found some things that looked like bread but white, and she met 2 men who said, "Take and eat." She ate and carried some back home. And when the parents saw her, they said, "What is it you are having in your hands?" She says, "I don't know, but I've eaten." They said, "Don't eat, throw." She said, "I've already eaten. The men that I met told me to eat." And they went to look for the men. They were not there. Those 2 men disappeared. And the people went and picked the manna and ate. And they were falling every day except on Sabbaths. And this manna has been falling these days. It falls Wednesdays and Fridays if it's not raining. Unfortunately today, when we came, it rained in the night. But manna fell. We still managed to find a bit of it, and as evidence that it was there.
I don't have words to describe how I feel now. I can actually quote what another pastor said when he preached about manna which the Israelites saw in the desert. And he said when they saw it for the first time, they just questioned, what is it? And that's the same question I have now. What is it? Because I can't even describe it. It's a miracle.
There is a miracle within a miracle regarding the falling of manna at Namba Adventist Mission Station. When the church members are not in good standing order with the Lord, the manna that falls is not white, but is blood-like and very bitter.
The falling of manna has to do with the believers also around. If in this congregation, one of the believers is not walking well with God, the manna that will fall that week will be bitter, and that until there is a revival.